Welcome to the Anvil kitchen. My name is Peter and today we're going to be guiding you through a few tips on how to use your new Anvil oven. When first unpacking your oven, ensure that the unit is level. This can be done on the bottom of the stand with the adjustable feet. With the 2 and the 3-phase units, make sure that a qualified electrician connects the units for you. With the single-phase Prima units, it's just a plug and play. Remove the stainless steel protective coating on the sides and the top of the oven and distance your oven at least 30 centimeters from any grill or any deep fryer to allow enough of a gap so that your oven doesn't get hot. With this sort of oven that requires a water connection, ensure that a plumber connects this pipe to a cold water fitting, and on that cold water fitting it must have a maximum of 2 bars of pressure, and the pipe must be purged before connecting it to the oven to prevent any blockages. With regards to the drain, connect a drain that is high temperature using high temperature PVC. It must be a 1 meter off the floor, and that can go directly into the floor from there. Now I'm going to show you how to use your oven. Your top dial is your steam dial. This starts at position 1 right up to position 5. This controls the amount of steam that's in your oven. Dial number 2 is your time dial. This goes in two positions. If you turn it left to the on position, that would leave the oven on for infinity. If you turn it right, that would be like a manual timer. The third dial is your temperature dial, which goes from 50 all the way up to 250 degrees Celsius. We've got your safety cutout, your start button and your stop button. Now we're going to be talking about the 3 different cooking methods that you can do in your Anvil oven. Firstly, we're going to talk about steam. For steam, at the top dial, you turn that to the maximum setting or high. The middle dial would be your time dial, so you turn that to your desired time. And the third dial, you turn it to a temperature between 90 and 120 degrees Celsius. Anything more is no longer steam and anything less is no longer steam. Then proceed to push the green button to start the oven. Moving on to the roast or combination mode, you start with your top dial in any position between the 2nd and the 4th position, your time dial to your desired time that you would like, your temperature dial to any temperature between 160 and 200 degrees Celsius. And you push the green start button to begin the cooking cycle. For baking, start with your top dial and turn it to the off position. Turn your time dial to whichever position you would like or whichever time you would like. And then with your temperature, once again, any temperature between 160 degrees all the way up to 250 degrees for a nice dry cabinet. And push the start button or the green button to begin the cooking process. When using your grande forni, the first dial is your temperature dial. This goes all the way up to 300 degrees Celsius. The second dial is your time dial. If you turn it to the left hand side, it goes on to infinity, and if you turn it to the right, it has the manual timer. Lastly, we have the manual water injection. With the grande forni, you can connect a cold water connection, but it does not require drainage. And you would need to push and hold this button to get any moisture into the cavity. Lastly, this oven takes 600 by 400 baking trays as well as GN inserts, and it takes a total of 4 pans. Now to use your Prima Pro. The Prima Pro is 3 dials, starting with the convection dial. This goes all the way up to 300 degrees Celsius. Your grill dial, which you turn fully up to 300 degrees Celsius. And your time dial, which if you turn it right, it goes onto the on or the infinity position. And if you turn it left, it goes onto your manual dial. This particular oven takes 435 by 315 sized inserts. Now I'm going to show you how to grill. Firstly, on your convection dial, turn it all the way around until you come to the grill position. Secondly, come to the grill dial and turn it onto your desired temperature. Thirdly, Come onto your time dial and turn it to the desired time that you would like, and then proceed to put your product inside the oven. Leave the door a little bit open just to allow for airflow, as well as not to allow the door to get too hot, and then just turn your time dial to whichever time you would like. Here are some additional guidelines when using your Anvil oven. Firstly, it's very important to preheat your oven. What you can do is set your temperature 20 degrees above the desired temperature that you would like, and this would allow the temperature to correct itself when you open the door and load the product inside. Secondly, you'd always want to have a lower temperature of about 10 to 30 degrees, especially on your bigger ovens when compared to a standard domestic oven. You remember that your times may vary depending on how many trays are inside your oven. And thirdly, remember that your temperatures may also vary depending on how much product is in your oven. So just keep that in mind when baking and when cooking your various products in the ovens. Now when baking, here are a few additional tips, especially with your 10 pan and 6 pan ovens. Firstly, when you're baking, remember to use a slightly lower temperature than you're used to, or what the recipe would recommend, of about 10 to 30 degrees Celsius. When you're loading the tray in, use the top and the bottom trays if it is only 1 or 2 trays. This will allow the airflow to soften before heating the product. Remember, with things like lighter products, so like custards and cakes, what you would want to do, again, remember top and bottom loading. And secondly, when you preheat your oven, let the oven sit or settle for about 7 to 10 minutes prior to pushing the start button to begin the cooking process. This will prevent any rippling on the top of the cake. Lastly, with any frozen products like frozen danishes, just set your preheat temperature a little bit higher of about 20 degrees. This will just allow the oven temperature to equalize when you load it, and it will be the perfect temperature to begin baking. Here's some additional tips when steaming in your oven. Firstly, remember that your steam temperature is from 90 to 120 degrees Celsius. When steaming vegetables, vegetables can be steamed at 95 degrees Celsius, and this will stop any color from leaching out. Any starchy vegetables can be steamed at 120 degrees Celsius. Remember that colored vegetables need to be at the bottom so that they don't leach the color onto any other vegetables or product in the oven, or you can just put a divider tray in between so that it just catches any of the excess water. And then important, remember, when you open the oven, the cooking time stops. You need to close the oven and push the green button to begin the cooking again. Now I'm going to show you how to clean your oven. Firstly, open the door and lightly touch the surface to ensure that the oven is cool. This is very, very important. Why is that? Because if you spray any of the chemical inside here while the oven is hot, it will vaporize and you can breathe it in, which is very detrimental to your health. And secondly, if you spray a cool chemical onto the glass or the metal, it will cause thermoshock, will cause the metal to flex and the coating on the glass to weaken, and this could lead to the oven glass actually breaking. Before you start your cleaning, firstly, what you want to do is remove any items that are inside your oven and anything that may be around your drain that is blocking the water flow from going down. Then you're going to take your chemical, and let's talk about this before we spray it. This chemical must be low in caustic soda because that is very corrosive for your oven and it will actually break down the metal. Secondly, make sure that this is diluted according to the manufacturer's instructions. That's very, very important. Thirdly, if you have a very strong degreaser, wear a mask so when you are spraying it, you do not inhale the chemical at any time. And now we're going to spray the chemical liberally throughout the oven to make sure that it coats each surface. Don't spray anything beyond this gasket. Close the door. Set your steam to maximum. Set your time to 20 minutes. Your temperature to 75 and push the green button to start. Now that your steaming time has elapsed, you can hear the oven's buzzer going. Open the door by pulling the handle to the left first. Allow any excess steam to come out of the top, and then proceed to push it to the right, and this will allow the oven to open. Now we're going to take clean warm water. We're going to rinse the oven's interior with the clean warm water just to get rid of any chemicals that is there. And once this is all done, what you can do, or even prior to this, what you can do is loosen the thumb screws to allow the racking to come out. You can also loosen the thumb screws at the back panel to allow the back panel to come out, and you can go and wash it in your dishwasher separately. Makes it a little bit easier to handle, and you can then rinse the oven nicely inside. Once the oven is completely rinsed, what you're going to do is you're going to then proceed to close it again. You're going to set the temperature to 10 minutes, and we're going to push the green button to start it again. Now that the time has elapsed again, this has just ensured that all of the chemical is down the drain, any excess chemical that we may have missed. Remember, pull the handle left first, then right. Proceed to open the oven. And now that the cavity is clean, we're going to talk about everything beyond the cavity. So everything from this gasket outward. So around these edges, you can use Sunlight soap, a scouring sponge like this, and you can just wipe them. Over here by the glass, again, Sunlight soap, and use the soft side of the sponge, not the green side, and just wipe the glass. And then you can split the glass open by holding these two tabs, and then you can wipe this side of the glass and this side of the glass, and also the drip tray inside. For the outside of the oven, you can use Sunlight soap or a mild detergent, and don't forget the top of the oven, because that does collect a lot of dust and fat, so you can clean that maybe once or twice a week. Here are some tips when using your 6 and 10 pan Anvil oven. Very important, when opening the door, push the handle to the left first. Allow the steam to escape out of the top of the door first. Wait a few seconds and proceed to open the oven. Remember to stand on this side so that the steam doesn't hit you in the face when you proceed to open the door. Another important tip is on tray size for these ovens. You can use a GN insert like this. Remember, with deeper inserts like this, that you do lose capacity in your oven, so this particular insert takes up 3 racks. Or you can use a 600-400 baking tray like this, or baking rack. Now we're going to be talking about the differences between the various Anvil ovens. These are all convection ovens, so keep that in mind. There are subtle differences between the ovens, and here are the main differences. So starting off with the Prima Pro, this particular model comes in 2 variants, where we have the Prima, which is a convection oven, a single phase convection oven. It's got 2 little fans. These fans go in a unidirectional fashion, so spin only one way. And then we've got the Prima Pro, which has the addition of grilling. So moving on to the Grande Forni, this is a specialist baking oven, and what makes this nice is it's got 2 big fans at the back. These fans spin in a bi-directional fashion, so they spin 4 minutes one direction, stop for 30 seconds, go 4 minutes in the other direction, and this equalizes the temperature inside to ensure perfect baking results every single time. Remember that this is a 2-phase oven, so an electrician would need to connect this unit. And then lastly, we've got the 10 pan oven, which comes in 3 variants. We've got a 6 pan, we've got a 10 pan, and we've got a 20 pan variant, all of which are 3-phase power and do require a professional to install it, a professional electrician, as well as a water connection and drainage. And with this particular unit, it has a nice big fan at the back to ensure fast airflow, It is a general purpose oven, so it does a bit of everything. And obviously we've got the 3 various cooking methods in here, which are steaming, roasting and baking.